Hey YouTube, Nathan here. It's Friday afternoon and I'm just wrapping up my work week and I couldn't be happier. It's been a rather long week considering that it was just a 4-day week, but I have some exciting news. I have my first 2 tomatoes this year and I'm going to be eating these later on tonight, but there is nothing better in my mind than a couple fresh tomatoes out of the garden. So I just wanted to do a quick update on what's been going on out in the garden and with the animals and all that sort of stuff, so let's head on out.
Alright, so this is my main garden over here, and as you can see, my Swiss chard seems to be doing alright. It might be getting a little warm this time of year for that, so I'm thinking I'm going to pull that out here pretty soon. The broccoli is all but done. I've been slowly pulling that and feeding it to the rabbits and tossing it in with the chickens to let them eat all the bugs off of it. And this is my tomatoes over here. Everything seems to be doing well. We've got a nice set of fruit on most of these. I've been pruning them back a bit. I have a bit of an unconventional way of growing them, but as you can see, I've got some nice groups of fruit on there, and I've got a handful of different varieties here. Beefsteak, Homestead, cherry tomato variety, and I think that's about it. The strawberries down there seem to be doing alright. The carrots seem to be doing really well. I still need to do some weeding in here and figure out what else I'm going to be putting in there. But the onions seem to be doing okay. I had to pull some earlier because they start to get about like this guy here, just kind of falling over. And they've been about baseball sized or a bit smaller, but they're quite tasty, so I don't mind that I'm not getting them fully to maturity. Over here I've got some more carrots and some more onions, and this is a good example of what's been going on here. I'll go ahead and pull this guy. The tops just seem to be rotting off, but I'm getting a nice fruit off of them, so I don't mind. But if anybody has any tricks on how I can get better fruit sets and maybe get them to last longer in the ground, would be very helpful. Over here we've got my asparagus, and in my asparagus I also have a tomato going over here, and this guy just popped up. I noticed tomatoes popping up all over my garden, and it was the weirdest thing. I was trying to figure out where they were coming from, and it turns out they were coming from my compost pile. I had gotten rid of a lot of tomatoes that I lost in the fall frost, a couple 5-gallon buckets full, and I'd put those all in my compost pile, and evidently I didn't let the compost heat up long enough, and so I was getting little sprouts, and you can probably see some down here of all these little bitty tomato plants. So I've been going through and pulling most of them out, but I've left a couple just to see how they do. But with the weather we're having here, it's going to be too warm for them to set fruit here shortly. So here on this side you can see these are the cucumbers, and I just planted these maybe a month ago, and they're already doing quite well. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't harvested any yet, but that guy's not too far from being ready. I give him maybe another 4 days to a week. They grow really fast. This is my chili patine. It seems to be doing well and hanging in there. Since my last video, I've planted this patch of corn, and this is a G90 sweet corn. I'm really excited about that. I have some weeding to do here, and you can see there are a lot of little tomato plants growing in there, and also some sort of succulent, which I'm not quite sure what that is, but I have a feeling it might be some seed that came from the pig manure that I mixed into the compost pile as well. Over here I've got my okra. Okra seems to be doing really well. I just harvested some today and had it for a little snack, and it was delicious. The only problem I've been having with this is that I've got to grab the okra before it gets too large, because as soon as it gets big, it has a tendency to be really woody and just not very appealing. So I just got to keep a close eye on it, because it seems to be that if you even miss it by a day, it's just too late for it. Over here you might be wondering what this is. This is my sunflowers, and I've put these paper bags over them because the birds have gone to town on them, and so I put the paper bags there to protect them. But as you can see, I'm starting to get some seeds ready to go there, and we'll give them a bit longer, but those bags do seem to help tremendously with the birds and the squirrels. The basil seems to be doing well, and the sage. Around on this end, well, this is the jalapeno back here, and I've been getting a lot of peppers off of that. That's doing really well. I've had an issue with these serrano peppers. They're just slow going, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this zucchini patch over here seems to be running over into it. So the zucchini is starting to go. I probably have another month left on that. But I've got some squash borer beetles that are getting into the main trunks of those, and so they're going to be gone here in a bit, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put in their place. I've got some eggplant down here that again seems to be a little slow going, but I'm sure in time I'll get some fruit off of that. And this is the squash. This is a tricolored zucchini. This one is the yellow variety, and then I've also got some of the traditional green and then a brighter green color. You can probably see some down in here, but the squash has been going great. I've been eating more squash than I ever have, and I've still had plenty left over to give to the neighbors and to feed to the chickens. The chickens seem to love the squash. They'll just eat zucchini all day long, so I come out here and every night toss in a little bit for them. What they're eating at here is a quarter of a huge zucchini that I grew. That it was one that got lost in the plant that I didn't see after a while, and it was almost the size of a small watermelon. It was just huge. These are quarters of it that you can see laying there, and so I just saved it and chopped it up for them, and they just go to town on it, and they really seem to like it. The chickens have been laying eggs. These two larger ones that you see here have been laying eggs, and I've been getting about an egg a day from those two. These two guys over here are still they're still a little young, so I'm not sure how many weeks. I'll have to look at the calendar. I think they're around 14 weeks old or so, maybe 15 weeks. So we probably got another 5 weeks at least till they start laying eggs. But the chickens are happy, and the coop has been, it's been a really fun thing to have around. And last but not least, I want to show you my potatoes. Let me go check on the bunny rabbits. Oh, one thing. I noticed this growing. That's watermelon. This is the fire pit here. And in the late winter time, we had a fire and sat around and ate a bunch of watermelon and threw seeds down. And that just kind of sprouted up on its own, but I'm letting it go, and hopefully we'll get some watermelon out of it. This is my potatoes. This is the box that I built. I think that what I'm going to do after I harvest these is I'm actually going to chop the box in half on my table saw. It's about 4 feet tall now, but I think that'll give me two 2-foot tall boxes, and I think that that might be a better height. I got a little behind schedule with adding the dirt into here. It was my intention to fill it up all the way, but I didn't get to that. So they seem to be doing fine. I don't have a whole lot of experience growing potatoes, but we'll see how they all turn out. I'm hoping to have a decent harvest out of that. There's the nifty compost pile there. I've got a whole fresh batch of rabbit poo and leaves and all sorts of garden scraps in there. And I'm going to make sure to let it sit long enough this time that any seeds that are in there get completely broken down so I don't end up with randomness sprouting all over my garden. But these are the bunny rabbits. It's a little warm out today, so they're just laying around. They seem to get more active at night than in the day, but I've been feeding them a lot of weeds out of the garden as I thin things out. Hey, Blue, say hi. That's Blue. She's my little helper. She keeps the squirrels away. Isn't that right? All right, YouTube. Thanks for watching.